There are so many exhaust options out there for this bike, but which one's the best? How do you even go about deciding? So, what's going on, y'all? It's SK13. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I need your help. With so many exhaust options out there, I need help narrowing down my options. First off, does this bike even need an exhaust, like an aftermarket exhaust? I would say nah, just because it sounds absolutely amazing stock, but you know, I just want something that's a little bit louder with some pop. Loud pipes save bikes, anyone? Just kidding. But anyways, in today's video, I'm gonna do a rundown, the list of like the various exhaust options that are currently available for the RX 660. If I can find exhaust clips, like sound clips for it, I'll link them down in the description below. But just as a disclaimer, exhaust looks and sounds are absolutely subjective and preference will differ amongst each person. My goal is to basically use this video as a way for myself to share my thoughts and see what other thoughts are on the matter as well. Different perspectives are always nice, and remapping is recommended when changing out the exhaust. And lastly, costs that I'm going to be referring to in this video, they're gonna differ depending on which country you're in, obviously, but just wanted to get that out of the way first. All right, so first off, we gotta start with SC Project, since that's what Aprilia uses on their race bikes. There is the SC1-R, which, you know, cost-wise ranges from anywhere from $1,500 to $1,900-ish, depending on which one you get. Obviously, you pay a premium for the titanium version because it is lighter, stronger, and because the real reason people get it is because it changes colors. Just kidding, but actually not just kidding. I'm just trying to keep it real with you guys. Anyways, looks-wise, I really like it. It does get rid of the stock exhaust lines, and there is a panel gap at the bottom, which basically exists with almost all aftermarket exhausts with this bike, but it grows on you over time depending on what it is. Sound-wise, I think based on clips I have heard, it sounds absolutely amazing. I think the biggest drawbacks for this one are obviously the cost. It's pretty expensive, and the can is pretty large, which some people may or may not like. I personally like the can, but the price, oof, it is hefty. If you want to maintain like the passenger pegs, I think they do have a version that keeps them. Then there is the other SC Project exhaust, which is the CRT. The can is much smaller than the SC1-R, which I really like personally. Cost-wise, it's also cheaper than the SC1-R and can range from anywhere from $1,300 to $1,500-ish, depending on whether you get titanium or not. The stainless steel one keeps the passenger pegs, from what I believe, but I have seen some folks with the titanium exhausts maintain their passenger pegs too. I'm not sure if they like custom fitted like a bracket or something or not, but I know out of factory, SC Project, the CRT titanium one doesn't allow for the passenger pegs. All right, sound wise, this thing is probably the loudest on this list. Is louder always better? I would say no, but in video, this one sounds absolutely amazing. Cost wise, it's still definitely expensive, but it is cheaper than the SC1-R. Next up, we have the Akrapovic, which is the one exhaust that you can get that won't void your warranty, as long as you get the one that's catted from the dealer. That being said, obviously there's a catted version, there's a decatted version of this exhaust. Out of all the exhaust options, I feel like the Acra is probably the quietest, but definitely nicer sound than stock for sure. I absolutely love Acra as a brand, and their exhausts are always on the top of my list. But for the RX 660, I'm just not feeling the way it looks for some reason. When I see the can by itself, it looks nice, but the way it sits on the bike, it's not visually pleasing for me, but personal preference. Cost-wise, it is also up there along with the SC1-R. It can range anywhere from $1,700 all the way down to $1,200. The catted one is more expensive, which kind of sucks since you got to pay a premium for a more quiet sound, but obviously the warranty is intact, which, depending on whether you're having issues with your bike or not, could be worth diamonds. Now let's move on to Mivv. Mivv exhausts seem to be within the top 2 most common ones I have seen. Top 2 being the Project SC1-R, and then for Mivv, it's the Mivv Delta low mount. So this Mivv exhaust is one of the 3 underslung options you have for the RX660, meaning if you want to maintain the low profile look of the stock RX660 exhaust system, this is a good option. Looks wise, I think it looks great. The carbon fiber is a nice touch. At first I thought it sounded just okay, but I heard a clip online recently of people who took out the silencer that comes with it, and I gotta say, that sounds pretty good. Based on dyno figures, it also seems like the Mivv Delta has the best mid-range graph. So from a daily rider perspective, where you're spending the bulk of your time in that mid-range, this is an awesome option. The exhaust outlet comes out towards the right side only, so obviously there's still going to be a gap on the other side, just like with all the other aftermarket exhaust systems. The Mivv also makes longer exhausts, such as the Delta Race High Mount, and then there is this XM1, which has similar headers, piping. The can is just more streamlined on the XM1, and it is titanium. I'm not sure if I have actually heard these exhausts before, so I don't have a strong opinion about them. Based on aesthetics alone between these longer Mivv exhausts, I would probably go for the XM1. Personal preference though. Alright, let's get to the cost of these Mivv exhausts. The Delta low mount is a little less than $1,000. The XM1 is around $1,050. The Delta Race High mount is about $100 more at $1,150. So far, the Mivv Delta Low is an absolute banger of a choice for the cost. Cost to sound ratio, it is a win-win for me. I don't think I would get the other Mivv exhaust just because I simply don't prefer the look over the SC Project exhaust, but that's just me. Another choice out there is the group of exhausts made by Motobox. So they have basically taken the stock exhaust and modified it in a manner that creates a louder and more robust sound. They even teamed up with a tuner, Gabbro, who in the Aprilia community is pretty well known, to create custom maps for their exhausts. They have the Sport, there's the Sport Plus, and then Race exhaust versions. Sport retains the stock cat and basically gives you a louder stock exhaust. The Sport Plus is that it also retains the stock cat, but it is louder than the Sport version. I think for the regular Sport version, you don't need to remap, but it is recommended for the Sport Plus. And then they have the Race exhaust, which I'm not actually sure if they keep the cat or not. It doesn't specify in their description on their website, but it is the loudest of the bunch, and remapping is highly recommended for that one. So looks wise, if you love the look of the stock exhaust the most, this is the absolute best option for you for an aftermarket exhaust. Cost wise, it ranges anywhere from $650 to $900, depending on which one you get. I think you can maybe get a small discount if you send them your stock exhaust as well, kind of like an exchange program thing. Not sure exactly how it works, but definitely check out their website if you are interested though. Next up, we have the LeoVince exhausts. I have seen these popping up more and more recently, but there is a full carbon fiber can version, which is around $1,000, and then a stainless steel version and with carbon fiber accents for about $850. There are more sound clips of this one more recently, and I gotta say, it sounds pretty good. I don't like the look of it in the manufacturer pictures, but from the videos that I have seen, it looks pretty sharp. Sound-wise, it's not as loud, or it doesn't appear to be as loud as the SC Projects, but not as quiet as the Acra either. I definitely do enjoy the sound of this one more than the Acra, but there's no denying cost-wise, this is king. if that is your priority, then you have basically found it for like a full long exhaust. Then we have a bunch of miscellaneous exhausts out there that I have not seen many videos or know much about. I'm not sure if many people are actually running these exhausts, but I'll include them in the list nonetheless. We have Aero exhausts. There's a competition and then the competition Evo. The difference is basically, from what I could tell, the can. They have a stainless steel versus titanium versions of it, and the cost can range anywhere from around $1,300 up to $1,900. Cost-wise, I'd say it's pretty comparable to the SC Project ones, but looks-wise, I am personally not a fan of these ones for the RX 650. Sound-wise, they do sound great. Can't deny that for sure. Then we have Two Brothers. Really only one sound clip of this exhaust that I have seen. It seems to be loud and somewhat comparable to the SC Project CRT maybe, but you can be judge of that. It is an underslung exhaust, so if you like that style, this is something to consider. Cost-wise, it is the second cheapest exhaust, I believe, as it comes in around $800. I don't have much of an opinion on this one either, since they are, they're basically no sound clips out there. Looks-wise, it is underslung, but it doesn't really fill the space down there like the Mivv Delta Low does. So I would still prefer the Mivv Delta Low over this one. Next we have the Zard full exhaust. The can for this one looks pretty cool. Cost-wise, it's around $1,500, or currently, I think on AF1 Racing's website, it's going for around $1,250. I don't really know much about this one. I believe from what I saw before, I think Gabro, the tuner, was working with this company. Not sure if there's any specific tune or map out for it or not. Now, Austin Racing. Looks-wise, I absolutely love this one. Probably my favorite looking exhaust for the RX 650 so far. Seems like it's designed well. It still leaves a gap on the left side, but it is what it is at this point. There are some pretty garbage sound clips of this though. The reveal video from the company has a lot of loud music over it, so you can barely hear what the exhaust sounds like. Knowing Austin Racing, it's probably going to be a really loud exhaust. I haven't seen anyone with this exhaust online, but yeah. On their website, it seems like they let you purchase the exhaust without the headers, but since the stock exhaust is all one piece, you would basically have to custom add the exhaust to the stock pipes, so labor could add up pretty quickly in terms of cost. Without the headers, the exhaust is around $1,100, and then with the headers for the V3 Mini, it is around $1,600. I remember seeing other customizable options for this when it was first released, which took the cost up to like $2,400 or something. I don't see that on the website anymore. It says the $1,600 one is full titanium, so at that price point, it doesn't seem as bad anymore. However, it still feels hard to pull the trigger since I haven't really heard any clips of it. Lead times are also 6 to 14 weeks per their website, so who knows when you'll get this thing. And maybe in the future when this one may become more popular choice, who knows. Anyways, next we have the DB exhaust. They have a catted versus no cat as well. This is good for European folks who have stricter emission requirements. Cost-wise, it can range from, looks like maybe around $1,100 up to $1,400. So cost-wise, it's pretty average. Looks-wise, I actually really like it. Specifically the titanium gunshot matter can. I think that one looks pretty sharp. It sounds good, it cracks, it pops. I would say it's not as deep and throaty compared to the SC, but that's expected since it's more restricted, at least from the videos that I've seen. Then we have this random exhaust called the Ixil exhaust. It's another catted option. This is, looks-wise, my favorite catted exhaust. It is stainless steel. Not many sound clips of this one, but the ones I have heard sound great. I'd say based on looks, this is my favorite one, like as a catted option, because it kind of reminds me of the SC Project CRT-ish. But yeah, this exhaust is an absolute bargain though. It's a whopping $550. How's the quality? I have no idea. Does more money always mean more quality though? Not always, but you know, if you're balling on a budget, would definitely consider this one. And time will tell as to how the quality is, how it holds up and everything like that. So, alright. I'm sure I missed a few exhausts out there, but what's the best exhaust? I guess it would boil down to just how someone would want to use their bike and what their priorities are. Say, for example, you plan on tracking your bike. Maybe go with the Acra, the Motobox, the Ixil, or the DB exhaust, because from what I understand, tracks have a pretty strict decibel limitation. So that could be a huge player in your choice. Daily riding your RS660, I would say that the Mivv Delta low mount if you prefer the underslung, and then maybe the SC Project SC1-R. Cost-wise, the Mivv wins for sure. Looks-wise, it's subjective and totally up to you. Weekend rider or canyon rider, maybe consider the SC Project exhaust, perhaps even the CRT. I really like that one. Love the exhaust look of like the stock, the OEM. Then definitely go for the Motobox exhaust because that's pretty much your only option at this point. Want an underslung exhaust, but not the stock look? Obviously, the Mivv Delta Low would be my choice. I'd say the most bang for your buck is definitely the Mivv Delta Low, but of course, without the decibel killer. Keeping costs low is the absolute priority for you, then Ixil for the long exhaust and Two Brothers for underslung, just depending on your preference. In my personal opinion, the best looking long exhaust is, for me at least, the SC Project CRT, and the best underslung is the Austin Racing one. The top two exhausts that I am considering right now are the SC Project CRT and then the Mivv Delta Low. Which exhaust would you pick up? If you bought an exhaust for your RS660, why did you choose that one? Drop a comment or question below. Would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any sound clips from your RS660, comment down below and let's hear it. Alright, this was a fun video to make as it actually made me discover new exhausts that I didn't even know were out there or were available. Anyways, y'all, as always, thanks for watching today. Thumbs if you enjoyed it, subs if you loved it, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.